So this just hit me while I was driving here, and it came to my mind and was something on my heart that I thought I would share with everybody. I was thinking as I'm driving that, America doesn't really show up in Bible prophecy. There's no evidence of that, and I've heard really, really good Bible teachers over the last 30 years say that exact thing, that America doesn't show up in Bible prophecy. I mean, there are those who say things about the western coastlands and the young lions, in certain scriptures, but I'm not sure that applies to America. And a lot of really good Bible teachers have said that we don't really even show up. So what, on the other hand, other nations do. Russia shows up. Meshach and Tubal. A lot of Bible teachers think that that means Russia. Um, Turkey shows up in Bible prophecy. Syria shows up. Obviously, Israel shows up in Bible prophecy all over the place, the Old and New Testament. Iran, Persia, ancient Persia, which is Iran, shows up in Bible prophecy, but there's no evidence that America does. There's nothing really there. And so I was thinking, and it was on my heart that I'm a patriotic American. I'm a conservative, pro-life Christian. Um, I believe in America. I believe in the idea of America, of our Constitution, our constitutional rights, of the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion. There are many, many in this country today that are trying to tear this nation down. And I am not one of those. In fact, I oppose them, and I oppose them strongly. But having said that, as a patriotic American who still believes in this country and its freedoms and its institutions, that they are the best that we've come up with in thousands of years. We still have the best system. We still have the best constitution, and we still have our freedoms. Although some have been trying to take them from us in the last 2 years, we've seen that. There are people in this country who would like to take our rights away. They would like nothing more than that, and to basically burn it down. I've heard left wingers say we need to burn it down and just start over from scratch and start this nation over again in a socialist utopian new world order globalist model. And I am definitely opposed to that, because what that means is that the rich will be extremely rich, and almost everybody else will be dirt poor. We've seen socialism, communism in the last 100 years, and it always destroys nations. It tears down the economic system, and it kills a lot of people. It happened in Soviet Russia. It happened in China. We saw the same idea in 1930s and 40s in Nazi Germany. They had a utopian vision for their society, and it was wrong, and it never works. And our system has worked. Having said that, though, and that we don't show up in Bible prophecy at all, um, in the end, it won't really matter what any of us do, because God's will prevail. I say that even to myself and to patriotic Americans, that I'm not going to give up fighting for our nation. I'm not going to give up trying to fight for our rights. We shouldn't give up trying to protect our children from the perverse agendas of leftists who want to push that on children, and their LGBTQ and their radical versions of socialism that they couch in words like social justice. It just means basically left wing socialism, communism. But I also know that in the long scheme of things, God's will prevails. That doesn't mean we give up fighting for our nation, though. We continue fighting. I will continue to fight for our freedoms that we've had for 200 years. But in the end, in the final scheme of things, God's will prevail. Whether we survive as a nation as we have over the last 200 years, or whether it doesn't and we don't prevail, and and something else happens, or our nation falls apart, or something even worse happens. I don't know what might happen, but uh, there are forces that would like to just tear, nothing more to tear than to tear this nation down, and I see it all the time. I just saw it online today. Leftists talking about destroying this country. That's what they want. They want to destroy it. I will try to prevent that, but that doesn't mean that in the end, that God's will for America and for all nations, in the end, God's will wins out. It always does. God's will prevail. His will. The prayer says, Thy will be done, Thy kingdom come. When it says Thy will be done, that means God's will prevail, whatever it is, whether it's we still have an America as we've known it or not. We can be assured that God's will is still going to prevail. He is in charge of all nations. He raises up kings and he brings them down. He raises up presidents and he brings them down. It's all God's will, and there's nothing that's going to stop God's will for America and for all other nations. And in the end, he will win. God will win. He will show us who he is. God will show us his power. All of us, whether we're Americans, Russians, Chinese, communists, or capitalists, or conservative Americans, or social justice warriors, God's will is going to prevail for this nation and for the entire world. And in the end, Jesus Christ will win. We know that because we read the end of the book. Jesus wins in the end. He will put everything under his feet. Christ will prevail in the end. He will put all enemies under his feet that destroy and that tear down, that destroy the human race, that destroy the country, that destroy nations. Jesus will put down everything that brings lawlessness and perversion. He will put it all under his feet in the end. And so that's what I have on my heart today, and I just thought I would share that with you. Thanks, and have a good day.